What does it mean to choose single motherhood? For many people, it's not just about a fallback plan. It's about a strong, intentional idea that they want to pursue being a single mom by choice. And so we decided to create this solo episode to help you understand how many other women feel about this process. Whether you're just starting out or if you're already well into your journey, you will find it really helpful to revisit some of the conversations we've had over time. We're going to hear from many women who've really thought through so many details of their experience, and I hope that it serves you well. From our Building Your Family community, this is the Building Your Family podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Schumann, author, researcher, and reproductive medicine therapist. As the leading destination for support and education for people using reproductive medicine to grow their families, we cut through the noise to provide you with research-based information, effective and actionable strategies, and the support that you need to feel better so you can get into the driver's seat of your life and build the family of your dreams. We look forward to seeing you inside. So to start, let's hear from a woman named Leslie, who's a divorced woman who decided to be a single mom by choice, but really felt that she needed to revisit her story about why she wanted to be a mom in order to pursue it.
And the metaphor that I ended up holding on to was this idea of a patchwork quilt, right? Like it wasn't linear. My life had been very linear. I'm kind of one of the last of a generation that was able to kind of like very linearly construct my life, from my academic life, the way I chose my career. I had a partner very early. We got married. Like I had a very linear path. And this disrupted the linearity of that. I just had to reframe it. I needed a new story. And for me, the story was that my life doesn't have to be steps one in front of the other. It's a quilt. And each piece of that quilt builds this beautiful story that I get to have as my own. And so I ended up kind of thinking about my choice to be a single mom as just another square in the quilt. And as soon as I found the story for myself, as soon as I found that narrative, it opened up things for me. And I stopped feeling like this was a white flag giving up moment. And instead, it was just another step in building a life that I knew I wanted.
Now let's hear from Kat, who was never married before and has a different way of thinking about it.
And as I was dating started to not be fun because I started to have this time clock of like, okay, by the time I'm 35, I want to have a child. And I felt a real sense of freedom when I decided to decouple those two things, the dating and having the baby, and decided I can be a single mother by myself and a relationship can come later if it comes, and it doesn't have to be in that certain order. And I think for me, it gave me both a freedom to pursue what I really wanted to, because I knew that I would be perfectly okay if I was a mother and didn't have a partner, but not the other way around. And I really knew that if and when, which I did later meet him, we'll get to that, I met my partner, I didn't want to be in a position where I was wondering if I had started earlier, would the outcome have been different? If I had not waited and, started earlier, would, I have better egg quality? And I knew that I wouldn't be able to live with that potential regret. I wanted to take everything that was within my control in the journey and keep time on my side. And so really, once I was able to figure out exactly what I truly wanted, it was really easy for me to separate the two and be excited about becoming a single mother. And it also made dating more fun and easier. So that was a nice side effect.
Isn't that interesting? I find it so interesting that Kat was able to reframe her story about becoming a single mom, and that really helped her launch her journey. But everybody's different. In fact, the next person you'll see is Trisha. She did a wonderful episode and talked about how she felt about becoming a single mom by choice and how it was very different for her than seeing herself as a single mom, maybe from a divorced relationship. Take a look.
Obviously, once you start the fertility process, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's like you go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You don't know how long it will possibly take. But I have found that for single women that decide to make this decision, it's really the first step that takes the longest because they can't decide. Like I remember being 35 and thinking like, maybe I should really keep dating again before I make this decision. Like maybe I should make this decision at 39 and not 35. Maybe I should give myself more time. But I think with my mom passing away, it was this, I had this other influence coming into me that was like, you can get married at any time, but
Yeah.
I don't want to miss the window of being able to have a child if it's something I can do. So I'll say, I guess that's one point. And then the second thing is, when you start telling people you want to do this, most people only are telling people that are married or they're divorced. They don't know other single moms by choice. So they're
Right.
saying to their friends who are married with maybe a partner who's not that helpful, or a divorced mom who went
Right.
into this with a partner, assuming like we're going to do this as a joint entity here. And then, it doesn't work out. So you have these two influences talking to you about a personally lived experience that's really not your experience because you're making a choice to do this on your own from the beginning. You're setting your life up to do it on your own. And I'm happy to share more about kind of things I did, but I don't think it's the same experience because when I talk to other single moms by choice, I get a totally different perspective and
Yes.
opinion than somebody who, has maybe been divorced or is married and doing this and saying like, how could anyone ever want to do this by themselves? Because it's not the same thing. And so I guess I often tell people like, make sure that you get the right perspectives about making this decision because there are definitely hard parts about doing it on your own, but there's also easier parts about doing it on your own. Like you don't have to compromise on your values. You don't have to compromise on your discipline style.
Right.
You can, I moved from Houston to New York in the course of the first 6 weeks of my daughter's life without having to really check with anybody. But then there's harder parts. Like I can't just run to Target whenever I want. Like there's not always somebody at my house,
Mm-hmm.
I don't always have someone to bounce ideas off of about big decisions I have to make for my family and my daughter. So yeah, I think in every family structure, there's easier things and there's harder things, but I do think it's a stigma or a misconception that because you're doing it on your own, that it's necessarily harder, at least in my experience or my perspective.
You see, Trisha really felt that it was so important to feel intentional in her process, to feel like being a single mom by choice is not just a fallback plan, but something that's very intentional. And that feeling gave her a sense of strength and a sense of empowerment and really helped her move through treatment. Now, speaking of moving through treatment, unfortunately, moving through treatment is not always easy for everyone. So, you're going to hear from some women who talk about that. And the first person is Kristen. She's going to tell you how she got through it.
Parenting is hard, but so is being single and really wanting a child and not being able to have one because you don't have a partner, or
Yeah.
thinking that you can't have one because you don't have a partner. And I went through years of that after having gone through years of a long-term relationship where he wasn't sure if he wanted kids and wanted to get married. So it was just really hard watching. I have 3 younger sisters and they all started, 2 of them started having kids well before I did. So I got to be an auntie and I love those kids so much that I was just like, I knew that I wanted to have that for myself.
And Kristen also tells us how many fears she had that were never realized.
I just really enjoyed pregnancy. I worked out throughout my pregnancy and I didn't really feel like I needed a partner during that part either. I worried a lot about when I had the baby, though, when I was pregnant. I thought there would be all these hormones, and was I going to be really sad that this baby didn't have a father and that I didn't have a partner to help take care of the baby and take care of me? And luckily, that fear was never realized. I never really had that moment of I wish I had a partner here.
Many of these women feel that getting started was the hardest part, but you'll also see that several of them did have some difficulties. Well, I think that that's really important, I think, for people to hear, Valerie, because I do feel that, for some people, going through motherhood is something that they could say, okay, well, if I become a mother, that's great. If not, I'll make a great life for myself. And then other people feel so strongly and so passionately about it. And I think for those people, they really need to keep trying to pursue it. But it's difficult when you're facing so many obstacles, right? You're trying to do this on your own. You're trying to do it financially. You're trying to do it logistically, trying to find this donor. And so many people might say, well, I guess I shouldn't have a child then, or maybe God doesn't want me to, or maybe it's not meant for me and I'm not supposed to do that. And I think to be able to listen to your heart and to continue to pursue it is so important.
It is. And the sad reality is that not everybody who perseveres will be successful. I still pinch myself every day that my dream has come true. But I do think that if you are going to go down this fertility path, that you need to have some perseverance. A lot of people expect it to happen right away. It doesn't always work that way.
Right.
And when you are pursuing solo motherhood, as I was, and I talk about this in my book, Inconceivable, it becomes very lonely. You don't have a partner to lean on. You don't have somebody
Right.
else who grieves, the failed cycles, the miscarriage with you. That is an acutely lonely experience. And to be able to continue to get yourself out of bed and keep trying and living kind of an ascetic lifestyle because you're trying to be as healthy as possible to
Mm-hmm.
produce those eggs and to have that baby. It's a tough road, but I'm glad that I kept going, and I hope for everybody out there going through something similar that they will have the success that I've had.
You can really feel Valerie's desire in what she just said. And we're going to hear more from Valerie, but first I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Melnick. Dr. Alexis Melnick is a single mom by choice and also head of the third party department at Cornell Fertility Center. And she talks about why she thinks, not just experiencing it herself, but seeing many, many patients go through this process, why she believes that it's so difficult for single moms by choice in treatment.
Particularly with third party, I think that it becomes sort of extra challenging with expectations because I think in order for patients to get to the point where they're doing third party, they've already sort of had to feel like they've lost something. They've had to give up on maybe the dream of doing this with a partner. They've had to give up on the dream of using their own egg. And I think there's a little bit of mourning that comes with that to varying degrees. So I think once patients move on to third party, it's like, okay, well, I've already sacrificed kind of what I thought this was going to look like. This next part should come really easy. And it doesn't always, because what we do is by no means an exact science and 100%. And that can be, even more devastating. So I think it's sort of like a double whammy for those patients where they don't have success immediately.
We know that some procedures work and some don't, unfortunately, and that we just can't anticipate which ones are going to be successful and which ones can't. And sometimes it's really just about the marathon and not the sprint. And yet, being a single mom by choice means that you're going to have to push through it and push through all the times that it's difficult. It can also cost a lot of money and time and energy and hardship sometimes. So we're going to hear from Kat and listen to her as she describes how she managed through some of the most difficult times.
It was really challenging. I did I think 5 side jobs. I walked dogs, I dog sat, I Airbnb'd my apartment while I slept on people's couches. Just it was a crazy time in my life because I really was concerned about entering into single motherhood with a financial deficit.
I think it's so helpful, although Kat's story is very difficult, to hear how people manage in these situations that seem insurmountable. So let's also look at what happens when support is not so easy, because as a single parent by choice, you'll need a lot of support. Valerie has a great tip. And what about your friends and family? How receptive was everyone to this process when you started it?
I didn't tell my mom for about the first year or so, a little over a year, that I was trying to get pregnant. My folks are extremely Catholic and really believe in the importance of traditional family structures and, getting married and having kids that way. And I knew that she wouldn't approve. And I talk about my book, I had kind of tested the water and said, what if I had a baby through sperm bank? And my mom said, oh, don't do it. It'll break your father's heart.
Oh, wow.
So there was a lot of negativity around it. And I detail, again, in my book, the conversation I had when I broke down and told her I went through my first egg retrieval and got no embryos. And she had come out to visit me right after this. And I just broke down and sobbed and told her everything. She was amazingly responsive. She said, Valerie, I would never want one of my kids to live or not live their life in a certain way because they were afraid of what I would think. And with those words, she set me free.
You may see the difficulties in these stories and think, wow, this makes me feel less alone, or it makes me feel empowered because I know that I can overcome challenges just like these women. But if it's making you feel stressed or if you're concerned about it, I want to share some other stories with you that can help you think about how you can have a sense of agency and what will fuel you. So let's listen to Kristen and from Valerie.
I think that in a way, having him makes me a bit stronger because I'm just so grateful to have him. And I'm more and more grateful for the little miracle that he is, the fact that it even worked at all after going through 2 more failed cycles.
Well, I think you said in one of these articles that you've never been happier.
No, I haven't ever been happier. And, living here with my friend has just been such a beautiful experience. I wake up every day and I look at my son's face and I can't believe this is real. And I can't believe the love that I feel for him. And it's just what I was put on earth to do. I just don't know how else to say it. And it's not like having him has been this, explosive, like, yes, I'm happier than I've ever been. But at the same time, part of it just feels like this is right. This is natural. Like I was living my life in such a way that was kind of selfish and focused on myself, as single women or men do.
Yeah.
But to be in service to a child and trying to shape them into a good human being, it just feels like this is my purpose. This is natural and exactly what I'm here for.
And for those of you who may be interested in dating again at some time, I thought it would be interesting for you to hear from people who have dated as single mothers by choice and how it's certainly possible, but maybe a little different than you had imagined. So let's hear from Kat and from Valerie.
He has an amazing relationship with Nora, my daughter. And, in a lot of ways, that's been maybe the hardest part for me. People always are like, oh, well, that's the dream. You got the partner and you have the baby. And I think for me, figuring out how to co-parent when you have so steadfastly planned this on your own and have been making all of the decisions and finding that balance between that. So I think it's really, great that we've expanded our family, but it's also not the holy grail that people kind of tend to think like, oh, you got plan A, because I was really happy with plan B. And this is kind of plan C that we're navigating all over again.
It's a matter of finding the right person. And I'm not going to put a lot of pressure on that. The fact that I've had my son takes the pressure off of that because I'm no longer aggressively looking for someone to help me procreate.
Right.
If somebody looks at my life and my family and sees my son as a handicap, they are not the one for me. And that's almost a good screening tool.
And last but not least, let's hear from the adult kids of single moms by choice talk about their experience growing up in a family with single moms by choice. And so valuable, I think, for parents to be, to hear that they could have a child who won't feel that they're lacking as much as they feel that they have all of these beautiful things, right? So I think that that's really helpful for everyone to know that there are these other experiences that people probably wouldn't even imagine there would be.
I mean, and I look at Jana's mom and my mom, and I think both of us, we love our moms and we think that they're the best and the coolest and the most badass women that we know. It's just such a gift to be able to have grown up watching someone take control of their own life, make independent decisions, really be their own champion, be extremely confident in the way that they're raising their family, and extremely proud of the family that they have built. And I think that just speaks volumes onto how John and I both were raised, and to how now we're both very confident in how we were raised in our family structures. And we each get to now make decisions about what kind of family we want to have.
If you're thinking about becoming a single mom by choice, I hope this episode helped you and inspired you. I hope you saw that even when things can go wrong, there's always a way out. There's always a path forward, and you can do it too, just like these women in these episodes. As far as we know, we have one little precious life on this planet, and it's too short to deny your heart. So if it's in your heart to be a mom, you need to be a mom. If you're a single mom by choice already, I applaud you. It's wonderful, and I hope you enjoy every minute of it. It would also help us if you could leave a comment for other people who are going down this path who could use the support. So give us a thumbs up if you found this episode helpful. And of course, please join our community. The Building Your Family community is a wonderful educational and support resource, which you can access anytime by your phone or by your computer. We have groups specific for single mothers by choice. We have workshops, guided meditations, and full courses that you can access anytime. So go to our website, familybuilding.net, and take a look. I'm sure you'll love it. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this was helpful to you. And if you'd like more personalized support, more information, and more education, you can find it in the show notes under the Building Your Family community. We'd love to see you inside. And if you were interested in today's topic, you will really like this video.